Shalom. This is Bishop Nathanyel of Israel United in Christ. I want to start off by saying thank you to all of our Booster Club members for your many donations and much more, your prayers. We visited faraway countries and strange lands. We've even spoken to dignitaries and were detained for spreading the glorious gospel in Cuba. The truth is that the descendants of the 12 tribes of Israel were scattered throughout the world. Help us on our journey as we continue to raise up the nation of Israel. 12 tribes worldwide. Join or donate today. Shalom.
Mask in case anybody says, where that mask at? I got my mask. There you go. So if I got one, you got one. All praise to the Lord. Today, quick, who's been keeping up with Shout Out Tuesdays? Anybody? Right, that brother with the glasses right there. Yeah, you right there. What's the copperoti? Have a seat. Raise your hand again. Nobody can see that? I thought nobody pays attention. This is what I'm talking about. We go over things. Let me try it, Captain. Captain Young, what's a caparoti? See there? That's what I'm talking about. See? All righty then. So we're going to go slow. Slow. I bet if I ask the sisters, they might even actually know. Walk with the giants! Walk with the giants! Yeah, y'all love that. Mm-hmm. I thought. Nobody pays attention to. They go, oh, that's deep. Then they
now, Bishop, that mean that's Deacon Nathan fault.
Yeah. Well, it's my fault too. I'm doing the same thing.
No. I'm gonna blame you for everything, Deacon Nathan.
We're gonna go over. I'm gonna go over a lot of. It's not gonna be too many scriptures today, but there's gonna be a lot of note taking. Okay. I'm gonna put a few references on the screen. Y'all gonna take down the references of where we got it from. Let's open it with 1 Maccabees chapter 8 and verse 3. Do I want to go there? Do I want to start with that? Did something happen in the news that I was supposed to talk about today? Oh, yeah. Hey, find that Christian thing. You know the Edomite that killed two people? Christian site over 100K. I'm going to put it on the Telegram for you. Because I know you're slow. Yeah, I just forwarded it. Let's put that on the screen. And this is to all you black Christians out there, you black apologetics, you hypocrites, you filthy liars, you. You will spend night on end to go against the Israelites. But when you see your quote-unquote fellow Christians, somebody who's reading for me today?
Obsolete, Bishop. Christian crowdfunding site raising money for Kenosha killer Kyle Rittenhouse.
So Kyle Rittenhouse is the Edomite that killed two people and maimed the third. Go ahead.
Domestic terrorism for Jesus.
Domestic terrorism for Jesus. So all you black filthy Christians out there, you lying apologetics out there who make it your goal to have, what do they have against the Israelites? They have little seminars, how to stop the Israelites. How about seminars on how to stop your white Christian brothers from killing people? Go ahead.
The Christian crowdfunding site Give Sin Go is hosting a fundraising drive for alleged domestic terrorist Kyle Rittenhouse after legitimate crowdfunding sites like GoFundMe refused to do so. Give Sin Go, which self-identifies as the fastest growing Christian crowdfunding site made by Christians for Christians, has already raised over $100,000 for the Kenosha killer Kyle Rittenhouse, the domestic terrorist charged with murder after killing two Black Lives Matter protesters and wounding another.
So let's pause right there. $100,000. So I'm bringing this out because you got this stupid apologetics named Mark Reiser. I believe he's so-called Jewish or German, whatever the hell he is. He goes, in the Israelite community, 12 people was killed within the past 15 to 20 years or something. I don't even know what it's, some stupidity. But he never talks about these Edomites that go around brazenly killing people. Like, what's the Edomite that blew up the federal building? What's his name? Timothy McVeigh. Killed almost 300 people. He talking about the Israelites. Mark, stupid rise, excuse my language. Just make me sick. If I see him, I want to vomit on him. And the blacks the dumb Negroes that follow him too. Go ahead.
The fundraising story for Rittenhouse reads, Kyle Rittenhouse just defended himself from a brutal attack by multiple members of the far leftist group Antifa.
Well, why was he out there with a gun anyway?
The experience was undoubtedly a brutal one.
I think he was underage as well. I think the age for the open carry in this state was 18. And I think this young man was 17. Go ahead.
As he was forced to take 2 lives to defend his own.
I told you Antifa is a terrorist group. I've been telling y'all for a long time. But Antifa's not the focus. Antifa is the Christians. That is the focus. These Christians are violent as hell. And that is today's topic. A new religion. You can take that off the screen. Today's topic is a new religion. Give me 1 Maccabees chapter 8 and verse 3. Now, we've touched some of the things we've touched on you're going to be familiar with. You're going to go, oh, yeah. And some things you're not going to be familiar with. You're going to go, oh, shoot. 1 Maccabees chapter 8 and verse 3. Read that off, Leon.
Yes, sir. 1 Maccabees chapter 8, verse 3. And what they had done in the country of Spain, for the winning of the mines of the silver and gold which is there, and that by their policy and patience they had conquered all the place, though it were very far from them, and the kings also that came against them from the uttermost part of the earth, till they had discomfited them.
Now give me, let me see, is it 2 Maccabees 10?
1 Maccabees chapter 10 and verse 33. Moreover, I freely set at liberty every one of the Jews that were carried captives out of the land of Judea into any part of my kingdom, and I will that all my officers remit the tributes even of their cattle.
Now, what I want you to see is that the Israelites were scattered throughout Asia Minor. We were also in Spain.
1 Maccabees chapter 3, verse 41. And the merchants of the country, hearing the fame of them, took silver and gold very much with servants, and came into the camp to buy the children of Israel for slaves.
Hey, you know what this also now reminds me of? Give me NIV. I want New International Version Bible. Deuteronomy 20, to show you the stupidity of the way this new translation is. Read that off, Celine. Blow it up big so everybody can see it. We're putting this on the screen to show you how the NIV has been erroneously translated. Read that.
Deuteronomy 28, verse 68, New International Version. The Lord will send you back in ships to Egypt on a journey I said you should never make again. There you will offer yourselves for sale to your enemies as male and female slaves, but no one will buy you.
You see the stupidity in this? Now let's compare it with 1 Maccabees 3:41 once again.
And the merchants of the country, hearing the fame of them, took silver and gold.
They took silver and gold. Mm-hmm.
Very much.
Let's see for what reason.
With servants, and came into the camp to buy the children of Israel for slaves.
So this shows you that this translation, this Deuteronomy 28:60 in the NIV, is totally wrong. Whoever, when you see, especially these stupid apologetics, they love the NIV. They go, look, see, the Israelites would try to sell themselves for slaves, but no one would buy them. Look, it's written here in the NIV. But that's not what the King James Version says. That's not what Maccabees said. And that's not what any other of the translations say. This translation was put together by the so-called Jewish man. And these is put out as war against the children of Israel resurrecting. Amen. That's why they put these things up. Amen. Everybody understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Don't be confused. Don't be confused. Now that we got that out of the way for my stupid apologetic brothers and sisters, let's go to Romans 15:24.
Romans chapter 15, verse 24. whensoever I take my journey into Spain.
Where?
Into Spain.
Go ahead. Well, I wonder why Paul was going to Spain. Because we just read in 1 Maccabees 8:3, you had Israelites in Spain. Read on.
I will come to you, for I trust to see you in my journey, and to be brought on my way thitherward by you, if first I be somewhat filled with your company. But now I go unto Jerusalem to minister unto the saints. For it hath pleased them of Macedonia and Achaia to make a certain contribution for the poor saints which are at Jerusalem.
So they collected money for the Israelites that were in Jerusalem. So don't none of y'all ever think collecting money is evil or wicked. It was kept up for the poor Israelites that were in Jerusalem. And this wasn't for the do-nothing. I've got to stress this. This was not money for the do-nothing Israelites. This was money for those that was involved in the work, for those that were widows indeed, and for the orphans. That's what the money was collected for. Come on.
It had pleased them verily, and their debtors they are. For if the Gentiles have...
You get a lot of bums that come in Israel and go, oh, he or she been with us 5 years. Nobody even knows their name, but they always got their hand out. You ever notice that? It irks my stomach. You have done nothing in this truth. Come on.
It hath pleased them verily, and their debtors they are. For if the Gentiles have been made partakers of their spiritual things...
Now these Gentiles is making reference to the scattered Israelites. Go ahead.
Their duty is also to minister unto them in carnal things.
See that? You see that? If the Gentiles have been made partakers of their spiritual things, meaning they gave the understanding of the scriptures, their duty is also to minister unto them in carnal things. That includes money, food, clothing. Quid pro quo. Everybody understand that? You watch out on later on. I'm asking what that means. Go ahead.
When therefore I have performed this and have sealed to them this fruit, I will come by you into Spain.
I will come by you into Spain. So I just wanted to show you references that the Israelites were in Spain. Paul went to the colony of Israelites that were in Spain. Now, this was 1st century. Now I'm moving further up in history. Enoch, give me the book. I want y'all see it? No, I didn't put the name of the book up there. And the reason I didn't put the name of the book up there is not because I am, what's the term? Selfish. No, that's not it. I'm doing that because when we put the names of the books up, there's 2 reasons. We put the names of the books up. The prices, for some ungodly reason, shoots up like $500. Or it goes out of stock, out of print. So that's one reason. The second reason is, there are people online who don't keep the commandments, and as we are going, they're buying the books right now. Not because they care about the truth, so that you can't get the book. That's their objective. So that the teachers do not get the book. You know what I noticed? You have brothers who don't teach a lick, but they got all the books. So I'm like, well, bro, you got all the books. What are you doing with it? Nothing. So why the hell are you buying it? Just so I can have it. See, this is the stupidity that goes throughout all Israel. We got to stop that. So the year of this book, as you can see, Officer Liam, can you see the year of this book?
1818.
1818. So this was during the time of slavery, when there was no fear of us reading this. So at this time, they were, well, we can put it in. Them niggas can't read. Give me the next page.
The Jews, finding themselves baffled in all their legal and illegal attempts to obtain a toleration in Spain and Portugal, continued under the spacious veil of Christianity to perform the Mosaic rites in secret.
So now let's pause there. What was happening at this time, you could jump in any time if you want. What was happening at this time, they made it a law. You could not be keeping the laws of God. They said you must be Christian. So in Spain and Portugal, they made laws forbidding the Israelites from keeping God's commandments. They said you must be Christian. You cannot keep the commandments. Now we'll read this old history and go, well, what does that have to do with us today? Well, this isn't the first time that this happened. Let's go back real quick, Officer Leon, before we continue on. Go back to, give me, is it 2 Maccabees 6? Because it's not my notes. 6 and 6. Just to show you. Oh, you want to say something?
Yeah, they were referred to as crypto Jews. They were called crypto Jews, Jews who kept Judaism in secret referred to as crypto Jews, as they were called.
Right.
They were pretending to be Christians, but they were keeping Judaism, the truth, in secret.
Now, the reason they were doing this, now, if you've been keeping up with Shout Out Tuesdays, we've been showing you that they were torturing us and sending some of us and separating our families and sending some of us as slaves on the west coast of Africa. Read that, Officer Liam.
This is 2 Maccabees chapter 6 and verse 6. Neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days or ancient feasts,
See that? That's what I'm talking about right there. Go ahead.
or to profess himself at all to be a Jew.
You cannot profess yourself at all to be a Jew. You cannot be keeping the commandments. That was under the Greeks, what we're reading. Under the Greeks. Paul, that's all I wanted. Now, when we go back to this time period, this is in the 1400s now. Read on, Officer Leon.
Their aversion to a religion which they were compelled to profess externally.
Wait, their aversion to a religion which they were compelled to profess externally became more implacable. Our people had hatred for this new form of religion, this new Christianity. That's been paramount today. We were always against Christianity. Why? Because it forbids you to keep the laws. And now they got more clever. They go, well, Paul said we are not under the law, but under grace. And they use scriptures like that to dumb us down so that we will become an immoral people, uncivilized people. That's what they've done. Then they go, look at the Negroes. Look, they're rapping about sex and drugs and murder. Look at and they're all Christians. Every Negro you see doing rap music, they all come from Christian households. Where does it come from? Here, this new religion. Read on, Officer Leon.
The law of Moses was still privately transmitted from father to son in the vigilance of the Inquisition and murder of so many of their brethren, which was caused them to be more circumspect, must at the same time have rendered them more bigoted. Many who could no longer submit to wear the mask of Christianity.
Many who could no longer submit to wear the mask of Christianity because they was faking it. Go ahead.
Quitted their country.
Meaning they left Spain and Portugal. Go ahead.
The greatest part of the fugitives
They became fugitives.
have settled in England and Holland, and among the Jews who reside in these countries, those of Portugal have the reputation of maintaining the most respectable characters.
So those in Portugal had the most respectable character. We're going to show the ones in Spain and Portugal. Go ahead.
Large numbers of the Israelites have, however, remained in the dominion of Spain and Portugal.
Notice it's letting you know that those were Israelites. This is in the 1400s. The 1400s. From there, give me the next book entitled, it should say New York at the bottom. Yes.
Yeah, because Bishop, if they put this on books and passing books around, they're showing you they have our documents
Exactly.
in their possession.
Yes. They have all our documents in their possession. Okay. You see the, Officer Liam, can you see the year of this?
1850.
1850. Again, we were still in slavery. No fear the Negroes reading because we couldn't read and write. They made laws. Let's go inside the book. Yeah.
Hey, I sent y'all something to show. The bishop mentioned how this is the same thing that happened with the Greeks. Happened in Spain. I'm gonna show you who Spain actually is. Remember, Greece didn't. When Rome came into power, Greece didn't disappear. They merged into one. It became the Greco-Roman Empire. Y'all remember that? Greco-Roman Empire, right? God sent you as a page.
The African descendants of those expelled from Spain.
By who?
By the Romans.
By who?
By the Romans.
By the Romans. So the Spaniards, Isabella and Ferdinand, were descendants of Rome. That that Spain comes back to Rome. Okay, so they were Romans. The whole Spanish Inquisition was based upon Greco-Rome. It's the same people again. These are their ancestors. Yep. They hated us as the Greeks. They hated us as the Romans. They hated us as Greco-Romans. They hated us as Spanish. Same people.
Officer Liam, look at the sentence above that. The persecuted.
The persecuted Jews carried into Africa the secret of their oppressors' weakness.
You see that? So it's letting you know those are the Jews that was carried into Africa. Okay. Now go back to the other page. Let's see if we can get it visible.
Thus, the Jews are a people who have ever, according to the prophecy, dwelt alone, without intermixing with the nations to this day. Now this separate race, all descended from brown ancestors.
So the Jews descended from brown ancestors. Go ahead.
For Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob must have been as dark as Yohanan,
Go ahead.
if not darker. Exhibit every shade of color from the black Jews of Malabar.
So the writer of this book, the scholars telling you that Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob were dark skinned. They were brown, dark skinned men. This is written in the 1800s. But jump down to the next highlighted area about the Spanish Jews.
Yes, sir. The Spanish Jew is always dark complexioned, and his hair is uniformly black.
So the Spanish Jew is always dark complexioned. Always. Jump down to the various
shades of color observable among the Negro or African race tends to the same conclusion. Along the coast of Guinea, which is low, marshy, and hot, we find jet black complexion.
You see that? Mm-hmm.
And this is the very country from which American Negroes have been derived.
So they're still talking about the Jews. And this is what they knew back in the 1800s. Give me the next book. Right. This is it here. Y'all see the year at the top where it says March? 1882. Now let's go inside the book.
Okay. Thus the black color is found not only in individuals as the black Jews of Portugal, but in tribes as the Becaris, the Red Sea, whose hair and character are perfectly Semitic.
Anyway, go to Google and type in Becaris so we can see what they look like. Y'all see how dark they are?
Yes, sir.
See at the bottom it says group of Becaris.
Group of Becaris, Egypt, circa 1880s.
Right. Look at the colored picture in the middle with the two camels. Click that one. Yeah, that one right there.
Becaris.
Yes. In Upper Egypt.
Upper Egypt, Camel Africa type.
Right. So what I want y'all to see, now go back to the writing, what the author said. Thus, the black color is found not only in individuals as the black Jews of Portugal, but in tribes as the Becaris on the Red Sea, whose hair and character are perfectly Semitic, meaning woolly, right? Meaning woolly. So, from there, let's go to, listen good, it should say, no, give me Job 30:30. Give me that one. Job 30:30. Read that off, Salia. You can take that off the screen. It's blurry anyway.
Job chapter 30 and verse 30. My skin is black upon me, and my bones are burned with heat.
So the prophet Job says, my skin is black. Based on the references we just looked at, it says the Jews are black. Give me Song of Solomon 1 and 5, please.
Song of Solomon, chapter 1 and verse 5. I am black, but comely. O ye daughters of Jerusalem, as the tents of Kedar, as the curtains of Solomon.
Okay. Now, give me the next book. Go you say.
It's not a woman that wrote this.
Right.
Solomon's song is called Song of Solomon, not Song of Solomon's woman, not Solomon's wife's song. Song of Solomon.
Right. Not the Queen of Sheba.
Not the Queen of Sheba. Song of Solomon.
Right. Give me the book. It should say New York at the bottom. It gives you the year. Officer Lamb, you see the year?
1850.
All right, let's go inside the book. It's on page 331. Start at the top.
Yes, sir. A new religion had appeared, differing in many of its doctrines and precepts from all those which had previously prevailed among the nations. It made new revelations of the Creator, of man's nature, deities, duties, and destination, and laid down new rules for his conduct.
This new religion they call Christianity today. This is the religion that our ancestors had aversion to. This is the religion that forbid us to keep the commandments. This is the religion that forbid us to call ourselves Jews and Israelites. This new religion is the religion here in the United States of America. This is the religion that made new revelations of the Creator, meaning what? He's European. He's a white man. You saw that with the Sistine Chapel. This is the religion that made new revelations of man's nature, not to keep God's laws and duties and destinations, and laid down new rules for his conduct. What new rules? Christmas, Mother's Day, Easter. What is it? Damn Dog Day and Baby Day. Yep. New Year's Eve, whatever the hell other days they got. This is the new religion that our ancestors were enslaved for not keeping. Their white scholars called it a new religion. Read the next highlighted part.
Here, they plunder and destroy churches and murder the ministers of religion. There, when overcome by the professors of the new faith, they submit to the initiatory rite of baptism to save their lives.
So our people had to submit to be baptized to save their lives, because it was either baptism or death. You're going to be baptized in the name of white Jesus or die. So many of our ancestors submitted to this crap, this garbage. That's why we get shocked, a lot of you today, especially women. Can we get baptized? Can we get baptized? That's all they talk about. Nobody want to keep the commandments, though. It's the same thing back then. Raise it up. Let's read that.
Yet, such was the result in the descendants of the very men who nicknamed their leader for condemning their horrid and inhumane barbarities, were to contribute their share. Such is the power of the gospel of Christ.
Let's see what these people did. Raise it up. Let's get to the very bottom. Go ahead, read that right there. When the discovery.
When the discovery of a new continent at the end of the 15th century
1492
aroused the already wakening mind of Europe from the slumber of ages.
Right, the white man was coming back in power. Go ahead.
And set in motion agencies.
They set up the agencies was the Spanish Inquisitions that they set up throughout Spain and Mexico and Peru. Go ahead.
Of whose result we yet see only a small part.
We only see a small part. Look at this bottom part here about an army of Normans. Read that part.
An army of Normans called a distinguished general in contempt, Oliver Barnacarle, Trojan old man, because he expressed his disapprobation of their custom of amusing themselves after plundering and burning a city.
This is when Spain had war against us. Go ahead.
By tossing captive little children in the air and catching them on the point of their spears as they fell. Such were the men whose descendants originate.
Benevolent associations, talking about Christians. When it says benevolent associations going into Christianity. This is what they was throwing out children in the air and catching them on spears. It's the same thing the Spaniards did when they went throughout the Indies, throughout Puerto Rico, throughout Santo Domingo. It's the same evil, okay? Now give me the next book called Jews and Moors. I hope y'all taking notes, because I know if I ask a question, I'm going to hear, I don't know. And you'll be on the street and somebody will ask you something, you look like a rock. Officer Leon.
Everywhere almost holy to the Jews.
This is in 1481. Y'all can see the first sentence there on the second day of January 1481. Go ahead.
Sir. The severity and savage alacrity of it may best be learned from the appalling fact that during the 18 years of Torquemada's ministry, an average of more than 6,000 convicted persons suffered annually from this cruel tribunal by burning or by condemnation to lifelong slavery.
So this was the Spanish Inquisition. So it says 6,000 were convicted every year by burning, condemnation, or it says by condemnation to lifelong slavery. This is black people. This ain't white folks. Right. That's condemned to lifelong slavery. Go ahead.
Or by endless torture.
Go ahead.
Making an average of nearly 17 a day. Okay. And the entire number punished during its existence in Spain from 1481 to 1808 amounted to 340,000 persons.
All right, next, go ahead.
All this to protect the interests of religion.
All this to protect the interests, what religion? Christianity. I need y'all to get that through your head. Under Christianity, they were burning us, condemning us to lifelong slavery, or by endless torture. That's what Christianity did. See, black people, our people run into the Christian church and have no idea of the origin and the evil that they did to us. Read to the next area.
It was sufficient to burn a convert as a relapsed heretic.
So let's say you said, you know what, I'm going to make believe I'm a Christian. But then in time somebody busted you keeping Passover or keeping Hanukkah or keeping any of God's laws. And that says it was sufficient to burn a convert as a relapsed heretic. You relapsed back into keeping God's laws. Go ahead.
Upon the mere accusation of crimes such as these.
Somebody, all they had to do was say, I seen him or her keeping the law. Go ahead.
That he wore better clothes or cleaner linen on the Jewish Sabbath than on the other days of the week.
If you wore better clothes, meaning you wore a nicer garment on the Sabbath day, they said this guy is a relapsed Jew. Because the Christians wore the same dusty outfit all the time. Right, and they didn't wash. But the Israelites, we put on nice garments. They said, no, he's keeping the laws. He's keeping the laws. Burn him. That's what they were doing. Go ahead.
That he had no fire in his house on the Jewish Sabbath.
Right, on the Sabbath, we didn't cook food. So they said, you know what? How come they're not cooking food on the Sabbath like everybody else? Relapse heretic, burn them, burn them. That's what they would do to us. Go ahead.
That he ate the meat of animals slaughtered by Jews.
And he only ate the animals' meat that came by Jews because it was killed a certain way. Go ahead.
That he abstained from eating pork.
Oh, you want to eat some of this pork? No, I don't want to eat any pork. Why don't you want to eat any pork? Why don't you want to eat pork? Heretic, relapsed Jew. That's what they were doing. Go ahead.
That he abstained from eating pork. That he gave his child a Hebrew name.
And if you gave your child a Hebrew name, heretic, burn him. Put them into slavery for life. This is the same thing they did during the time of the Greeks. I want y'all to see the history. And don't think it can't happen today. Oh, don't think it can't happen today. The way all this anti-Semitism, Trump making new laws saying this group is a Jew and nobody else. And if you say blacks are Jews, what? Anti-Semitism, that's hate speech. Do you realize that in Sierra Leone, a few days ago, brothers got arrested for they said hate speech. They went to jail. But you know, all praises to the Lord. We had already met the deputy inspector of Sierra Leone. So we had to give him a call, and all praises to the Lord, he got them out of jail. But this is where the world's coming to. What we're reading about here that happened in the 1400s, what we're reading about in the book of Maccabees, some of you think, oh, it could never happen. Can't happen. Some of you brothers that stand strong right now, when persecution comes, we ain't going to see y'all no more. That's why don't stress over these brothers. Some of them's just here for a hangout. They just here to clubbing. This is just a hangout. That's all I do. Watch when persecution really come. You're going to see the boys from the men. Where's brother so-and-so gone?
Some are just here to spy also.
Exactly.
Like it says in Galatians, to spy out our liberty we have in Christ.
Exactly.
Okay? That's all they're there for, to see what we're doing.
Exactly. So if you gave your child an Israelite name, you got burned or you were sentenced to lifelong slavery. They would know, name your child Shaniqua. Name your child Shanene or Daquan. What them other stupid names that our people got today? Or Saquon, them stupid names that mean nothing, most of them. But you give them an Israelite name. Why do you want to name your child that? None of your damn business. I want to name my child that. Why do you want their last name to be Israel and yours is something else? Just do what I say. Y'all don't see this going on today? It's slowly but surely picking up steam.
Bishop.
Yes.
You know how many sisters call saying that they complain that she got her head wrapped at work? And then I tell her, how come when the Arab woman, they walk around fully covered? All you can see is their eyes. Nobody asks them no questions. Now a sister want to wear her head covered, it's a problem.
Right.
A sister want to wear a skirt to work, it's a problem.
Right. It's the same thing. Go to the next page. Let's zoom in on this. So remember, this is around in the 1400s. All right, read that.
Yes, sir. Spain should no longer be polluted by the presence of Jews.
So they considered Spain polluted by our presence. Go ahead.
Now
remember, at this time you did have so-called white Jewish people there, because you had Khazars that already converted. So understand that you did have them there too, and Spaniards. Right. Go ahead.
That none but pious Christians should tread upon its holy soil. He resolved upon expelling the Jews forever.
This is Torquemada, who's strong for the Catholic Church. Go ahead.
They had long clogged the wheels of his triumphal car. He knew that there was a secret communion between converted and unconverted Jews. He knew that it was mainly due to their religious influence that the converted Jews relapsed again into Judaism.
They said, listen, because they're hanging out or still friends with the Jews, their Christian Jews are relapsing back into keeping the commandments. That was the problem. Go ahead.
He knew that they provided spiritually and physically for the poverty-stricken and branded families of those of their race.
So the Jews that had converted to becoming Christian, they were faking it. They still used their money, remember they were crypto Jews, to take care of the Jews that did not convert. This is what Torquemada was realizing. Go ahead.
Whom the Inquisition burned and whose possessions it confiscated.
That Spanish Inquisition carried from Spain to Peru to Mexico. It's the same thing. Go ahead. Go ahead.
And Torquemada was a coon. I believe he was, I think his father was a Spaniard. His mom was Jake. So I'll let you know again, you got coons then, you have coons now that betrayed their people. I believe he was used as an inquisitor. So he passed as us, but he wasn't us. So he was going around saying, yeah, Judaism. We would fall for it, he'd get us locked up. That's why he's writing this stuff. He's giving an account. He's like the Darth Perry of ancient time.
Right, exactly.
Or the William O'Neill of ancient. That's who he is. That's who's writing this.
Exactly.
The worst man ever.
Read on.
He knew that despite rigorous measures and Dominican...
Where you at? Okay, go ahead.
He knew that despite rigorous measures and Dominican spies, converted and unconverted Jews met in subterranean caverns.
We had secret hideouts. And these guys was trying to find out where are the Israelites meeting to discuss what's going on. Go ahead.
And counseled and worshiped together and comforted each other. He hit upon a cure at last. He knew a remedy that would remove the clog forever. He counseled immediate expulsion of all unconverted Jews.
So if you didn't convert to Christianity, his plan was to expel you from Spain. Go ahead.
In the year 1492, in the year in which Columbus discovered a new world, in the year in which the Jewish sailor of Columbus's crew first set foot upon the virgin soil of the Western Hemisphere. Strange fatality. In the same year that Spain opens domains vast, destined to become the land of the free, the blessed heaven, for the politically and racially and religiously persecuted.
Haven.
Yes, Haven. Thank you, sir. In the same year, the year 1492,
Wait, I want y'all to see the blessed haven for the politically and racially and religiously persecuted. Understand, racially because those were black Jews. Religiously because they were keeping the commandments. Go ahead.
In the same year, the year 1492, she opens her portals at home only to thrust out mercilessly, brutally, hundreds of thousands of unoffending, industrious, intelligent people, closes the gates behind them and keeps them barred high unto 400 years.
They kicked them out for 400 years. Go ahead.
On the 30th of March 1492, the edict for the expulsion of the Jews from Spain was signed by the Spanish sovereigns at Granada. Torquemada had triumphed.
So now what we want to look at now is the persecution. All right, so this is the next book we're going to go into. I want y'all to, let's look at the year at the bottom. Raise it up. All right, do y'all see the published in London? Do y'all see that? Who can read that year at the bottom? 1736. All right. Let's go inside the book. I want to show you something about how they tortured us. Let's blow that up big. I want y'all to see this one right here, where it says his head. Mm-hmm. Remember, this is the 1400s. Talk about the Spanish Inquisition. Read that.
His head and face are all hid with a long black cowl, only two little holes being left in it for him to see through. See through. All this is intended to strike the miserable wretch with greater terror in mind and body when he frees himself.
Sees himself.
Thank you. When he sees himself going to be tortured by the hands of one who thus looks like the very devil.
So, what is this describing, y'all? His head and face are all hid with a long black cowl. Only 2 little holes being left in it for him to see through. What do you see today that describes that? Ku Klux Klan, thank you. Notice what it says, when he sees himself going to be tortured by the hands of one who thus looks like the very devil. Give me the last picture on the telegram. Should be way at the bottom where you see an example of it. So notice it said his head and face all here with a long black cowl, only 2 little holes. Do y'all see that right there? This is it right there. This is the Inquisition. This is what these are. Let me say it again. Let me stress it. These are Christians. These are Christians torturing people for not confessing white Jesus. Right, the Inquisitors. Exactly.
We used to scream black power while heroin was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission. Minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road, purple and gold. From Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone. 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are how men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.